We got Florida. We got Miami. We'll do a full game breakdown the week of the game. So Tuesday predictions, they're back starting week 0. And then week 1, obviously, we'll break down this game. But what are the most important things when it comes to Miami's trip to the Swamp? We'll talk about it right now. Before we get to that, though, make sure you're subscribed to the On3 YouTube channel. Florida Gator fans, Miami Hurricane fans, college football season is here. If you're just now finding this show, you found your home. Because it's college football the way that you want college football discussed and talked about, all right? This show is built on passion, college football passion. So make sure you're subscribed right here so you don't miss a minute of the coverage we have for you around your Canes and your Gators. So the most important things when it comes to this game for either side, I'm going to go team by team here and kind of go back and forth with my list I have. Like, I think for Miami, if I had one thing that I think they need to do in this game, start fast. Like, that sounds simple, but what do we talk about so much with this game? How many times have you heard me say, it's in the Swamp, it's in Gainesville. Hey, that kind of throws a grenade of who knows what's going to happen in this game. You want to find a way to minimize that? Get a big play on special teams to start the game. Do what Utah did last year, granted at Utah, where they went deep the first play or the second play of the game for a touchdown. Like, do something like that. Take the wind out of the sails. Because if you can play this game in a little bit more of a minimized atmosphere, at that point, like, okay, neutral site at the very least, maybe. In some ways, maybe it's still a little bit Florida, but like, if you can do that, then you give your offense and just your team as a whole a chance to be a little bit more clear-minded, calms everybody down. Heck, if you can play with a lead, maybe you're able to play a little bit more of a conservative style of game. Like, that is the end-all, be-all. So as much as you need to start fast, as much as that's like a plan, like, you still have to dial it up. Like, if I'm Shannon Dawson, we got something in the chamber for you, whether it's a trick play, whether it's a little play action to start the game, but whatever it is, starting fast is the end-all, be-all for Miami if they want to win this football game. Because if you start slow and you give Florida some extra life, it's going to be tough. It's going to be very, very tough because the Swamp is kind of like quicksand. Like, the more that you try and get out of it, and the more that you fail to get out of it, then you start to sink. When you start to sink, the Swamp starts to frenzy. Their plan won't back down in the fourth quarter. The place is rocking. Like, you don't want to have that for Cam Ward's first start as a Miami Hurricane quarterback. You see I'm knocking the mic around here if you're watching live on YouTube. That's how fired up we are for week 1. Now, for Florida, this is equally as important, kind of in that same vein, answering scores. Now, if you're a Florida Gator fan, you would love to tell yourself, there is no way in heck that Cam Ward walks out there and has any kind of success against us. Like, if Austin Armstrong is able to dial it up defensively to where they can shut him out, great. However, I think conventional wisdom would tell us that Miami's probably going to score points based on all the personnel they have offensively. That is going to be in their DNA. I wholeheartedly believe that. And so if they score, it's not the end of the world, but if you can answer scores, going back to keeping the crowd in it, like, that's going to be huge. Also, you don't want to give a potent offense like Miami a chance to play with a 10-point lead. Heck, even a 7-point lead, you don't really want to be in a situation where they have the football back going in to score and they're up by a touchdown. Like, that's not good business. So if you can answer scores, keep the crowd as engaged as possible, that is the wild card for Florida, keeping the crowd in it. I told y'all, if it was at a neutral site, I'd pick Miami and I'd feel pretty good about it. Also, if it was in a neutral site, I think that spread would be a lot more than Miami minus 2.5. That's not knocking Florida. I've told you I think their roster is a lot better than most folks would give credit for, but the key here for Florida is the fact that it's in the Swamp. Make sure you can maximize it being in the Swamp. Now, this sounds cliche for the most important thing for Miami going forward here in this game, but, like, run the freaking ball. Like, don't overthink this. Don't make a simple game complicated. We said it on yesterday's show. Football is a simple game made complex by stupid people. They don't have stupid people in charge at Miami. Give the ball to Damien Martinez. Like, we talk so much around all of the things that Shannon Dawson does offensively. He wants to push the ball deep. He has an air raid background. You know, him and Hal Mummy and Mike Leach, like, they're all kind of in that same coaching tree. And they got Cam Ward. And we talk about him coming from the air raid system at Washington State and him pushing the ball downfield, averaging 7.7 yards an attempt. I'm talking really fast here because I think it's so important. Miami needs to pound the rock. When you're on the road, you keep it simple. When you're on the road, you go north and south. Going back to what I just said, they want to push the ball deep. They want to throw the football. Don't let that confuse you as to who Mario Cristobal really is. He's an offensive lineman. He's an offensive lineman. That's not a head coach. Offensive linemen, they want to be physical at the point of attack. They want to move the line of scrimmage. They want to dominate you against your will. If Miami can do that effectively, it'll be massive on a number of levels. 1, it'll quiet the crowd down. 2, it'll slow the game down. 3, it'll help Cam Ward just feel more comfortable in the most difficult environment, I believe, or one of the most difficult environments, I believe, in college football. It'll just settle everything in. Also, little cherry on top, you run the football effectively in that first half with Damien Martinez and their stable of backs, those safeties start to creep up. That defense starts to cheat. Boom, over the top to Sam Brown. Boom, over the top to JoJo Trader. Like, things open up downfield once that happens for you. So run the freaking ball. Don't make it confusing. Do what you do offensively if you're Mario Cristobal and company. Now, for Florida, offensively, get the ball to Trey Wilson. He may very well be one of the best. I almost said he may very well be the best player on the field. I think when Florida has the football, he is the best player on the field. Okay, you can make an argument for Cam Ward being the best player in this football game, but Trey Wilson is the best playmaker in this game. And we saw versions of what he was last season as a true freshman. Like, early on in that Tennessee game, I believe it was, like, they were force-feeding him the football every which way. It was jet sweeps. It was pop passes. It was quick game. Get him the football. In the biggest games, you want your best player to have the largest impact possible. Trey Wilson can't have the largest impact possible if we get to the third quarter and he's got 2 catches. That's not winning football. Okay, so feed number 3, get him in rhythm. You want to make sure your best players are able to be in the flow of the game by the first quarter. You hear Julian Edelman talk about that on different podcasts, how Belichick and Brady will do a great job getting him in the game flow early. Like, do the same thing with Trey Wilson. Allow him to impact this game from the get-go. If that happens, what we talked about with with Miami running the football, same thing happens if you get Trey Wilson the football, in the sense that your quarterback calms down, belief starts to grow, defense starts to key on number 3. When that happens, hey, then we have some counters off of that. Then we have other guys that get open, like Elijah Badger. Other guys get to eat when that starts happening. So you feed Trey Wilson. He is your go-to guy. He is your bell cow. If you win this football game, it is behind a massive stat line from Trey Wilson, right? So make that happen. Now, for Miami, do not turn the ball over. And y'all, like, this isn't novel analysis. Every single coach from Pee-wee to flag football to professional football, if you don't turn the football over, you'll have a chance to win the ball game. That's the obvious part of this. But I keep going back to the Swamp's impact because it's exactly that. I think it's one of the most impactful factors of this whole game. And Miami being able to control that, in a perfect world, minimize that, is their path to victory. But if you turn the football over, you might as well back up a truckload of Red Bull and pass it out to everybody within the Swamp, like from the stadium perspective, and then also pass it out to the sideline over there at Florida, because that will give them just so much energy, so much juice, so much belief. And this season, too, this game in itself, I believe, is a microcosm of everything that they have heard this past offseason going into this next season. They're not this, they're not that, they're doubted, they're this, they're that. Their dogs at home is Florida. If they're able to get a couple turnovers, even one turnover early, like, that is going to just light this whole place on fire, and Florida will be swinging very big in that sense. So Miami, do not turn the ball over. Take care of it. Cam Ward, I know you want to push the ball downfield, and I'm here for it. I think they'll do that successfully throughout the course of this season. But, like, throwing it away, that might be one of the best plays that you can make any given time throughout this game. Now, for Florida, here's what I would say. Last big talking point here for the most important things in this game. If you want to lose this game, if you want to go out there and just throw this game away, make your secondary cover Miami's receivers for like 5-ish seconds, 5+ seconds. Like, give them just a bunch of Mississippis. The way that would happen is Cam Ward back there playing Pirates of the Caribbean. He's Jack Sparrow making you miss in the backfield, because I think that Florida defensively, structurally, from a game plan perspective, will be improved from last year to this year. 1, like Austin Armstrong's growth. 2, the overall personnel getting more experience on the back end. 3, you got Ron Robertson there helping oversee the defense. But like the big thing here is, if you have a good game plan dialed up, but you don't get home on Cam Ward and he breaks contain and you're back there trying to chase him around, like that's how big plays happen. And Cam Ward, we talk a lot about his athleticism and the way he can hurt you with his legs. Like, yeah, he got in the end zone a few times last year for Washington State. But, like, I think where he's extra dangerous is how he breaks contain, keeps his eyes downfield, and then throws the football pretty accurately, pretty well on the run. If you want to lose this game, let Miami do their Pirates of the Caribbean deal. Let guys run rampant all over the place and make yourself have to cover them in a scramble drill for multiple seconds at a time. If you want to try and negate that, minimize the Cam Ward ad-libs is kind of the main point we're trying to make here. So I can't wait. Again, this game is 17 days away right now at the time of us being live. This is awesome. Again, we'll give you our winner on our Tuesday prediction show. So if you want to know who our winner is in this game, subscribe to this channel. That short form video will be out on this channel, but I mean, more importantly, make sure you're dialed into the live show. Hey y'all, thanks so much for watching. Subscribe to the channel here to make sure you don't miss an episode of The Hard Count. Also be sure to check out other videos on the On3 YouTube channel.